7 top news in Logic Pro 10.5. Hello music creators, Mike here, and I am super excited about this major upgrade to Logic Pro, the best one in years in my opinion. So in this video I will show you my personal 7 favorite things about this upgrade, so let's dive in right now. Live loops. Record, arrange and create with loops in a grid. Alright, so this is the live grid in Logic, the most major update in years. So I'm still getting familiar with this, it's brand new to me as a workflow. So what it is this grid of cells. For every track you have a cell here that you can record a new part to. For example, these drums here, like so. And you can drag and drop files like in the Apple Loops or from your file browser. So drag this audio electric piano track up here, for example. And now that is in the cell. And you can also, if you see here the MIDI tracks here, just drag and drop a MIDI track right here into this cell. Like that. And of course with the Apple Loops it changes to the key of your song. And also, you see these are rows and columns. So the rows are your tracks and the columns are these ones here. So you can actually click down here and try out new arrangements. Okay, so those were in the wrong scale. But anyway, that's the basic layout of the live grid. What I love the most is it's so easy to just record new ideas in here. Because what I will use it for personally is side by side. So you can actually access from here. This represents the grid and this the sequencer. If I click the sequencer button, it opens up to the side of it. So this way I can have them both side by side, record some snippets, and then look at this. Whoops. Then I can simply drag and drop this snippet if I'm happy with that right into the sequencer here. Okay, let's mute that track by the way. It's just my silly recording. Yep, like that. So what I will use it for mainly is record various snippets and ideas, try out some arrangements, and then drag and drop them into the main sequencer. And you can close here the grid. And another important aspect is this little arrow here, left and right arrow. If you click here, you can see now the right arrow here is active. So the sequencer is active. If I click again, now everything is muted in the sequencer, but it works instead here in the grid, the live grid view. So you can see it goes to the right here, but it doesn't apply. So if nothing is selected, now if I play this, it will mute the sequencer automatically and play the live grid. So the live loops are really useful because you can just go in, let's say this piano, the record button here, click it, you get a counting. Like that. Well, that's not a good recording, but then you can also double click and it opens up the actual piano roll editor. So you can go in and you know, quantize to note value and so on to correct your performance. And once you're happy with it, you can use it here in the live grid or drag it over to your sequencer where I compose my music mainly. You can also even go to an audio track, activate the record button, and now you can record directly in here. You can, again, as I showed you, drag in an audio file into an audio track. And you can even just drag whatever track right into here. And then you can access it in Quick Sampler, Drum Machine Designer, Alchemy, and so on, which is super, super useful. Now, I just want to take a second to mention that you can actually learn and master Logic Pro for free by watching over 100 video tutorials and tips on Logic Pro on my YouTube channel. I will leave a link to the entire playlist in the video description. New samplers, the Quick Sampler and the Multi-Sampler. So Logic finally got rid of that ugly ESX24 sampler that has been with us for decades and introduced this multi-sampler. So all your ESX24 instruments can be opened in here, and as you can see, it's beautiful, it's scalable, the interface like so, and you have a great layout with Synth, Mod Matrix. I will do a more deep video in the future, but as you can see, it's pretty amazing, and you get all these samples sounds with it. So let's try out one just for the sake of it. And I mean, you can do a lot of, as you can see, modulations, and this is a multi-sampler, meaning that you can have instruments that are made up from more than one sample, and even softer, medium, and harder velocities, so dynamic. So you can create basically contact type instruments inside this multi-sampler. And they also have the quick sampler. So if you open up that, the difference is that this is only one sound that you trigger, like a drum sample or something. And the really cool thing, the thing I love the most, is that you can simply record here, load, record, or drag an audio. So you can drag an audio file like this little file here I recorded. Oh, that one. So let's drag it in, and you can see to the left side it says original, use original tuning, loudness, looping, and length, or optimize, and then it will search for loop points. Let's try this one and see what it does. And you can see it actually didn't include the beginning, so you can simply edit it, and now you can play it at different keys. And I mean, you can use your own drum library for percussion sounds for this, and you can even just use the recorders. If I press this, I can record with my microphone as long as I select the input here, input 1 from my audio interface. You can do that. You can even use a slice mode as I showed you here, and there's lots of pitch and filter modulations, amps, LFOs. A great one-shot sampler in my opinion. Step Sequencer, brand new mode of writing patterns. Now this one might be my favorite update actually, because if you remember the old days, if you take this piano here, let's say this was a drum kit, well, you used to just write in the notes here, or if you wanted to program your beats, and it was a mess really. Now if you go here and I open up this pattern, you can see, wow, a step sequencer finally, and you can actually see it as an added mode here. So you have the piano roll, the score view, the step sequencer, and the smart tempo. Once you created it, you cannot switch, as you can see, but I mean, for percussion parts and drums, this is amazing. You can now go in and create your patterns like this, beautifully colored, super clear. I mean, this will sound like crap, but I just wanted to show you what you can do. And then if you open up this little arrow here, you get access to the velocity, note repeat, and you can even add more gates. I mean, ties. You can do so much right in this step sequencer. It's actually one of the most advanced step sequencers I have ever found. You can even set it to different grid values. So this is 16ths, but you can set it, this one on, let's say, 8-note triplets like that. Just track by track, which is amazing. Again, it sounded like crap, but what's really cool is that you get access to presets as well inside here. If you go to here, this little button here, you can see the drums. I mean, you can simply grab some presets here. And of course, you can save your own should you want to. Drum Machine Designer, major new updates and features. Now, the updates to the Drum Machine Designer are pretty amazing in my opinion. It might look the same right now. If I open this up, it's on kit controls. I think it's pretty much looks like it used to, but looks are deceiving because check this out. As soon as you click any one of these cells here, so the kick here, it opens up the loop or the sample here, and you can see Q sampler. Okay, so this is actually a mini version of the quick sampler for each cell, and it becomes even more obvious if I open up the group here for the drum kit designer, because it's actually a track stack. If I open it up, you can see the kick, let's open up the interface, is in its own track and its own quick sampler. And the next one, the snare as well. So you can see how great this is, because you can actually mix and add effects per pad, so to speak, right in Logic. And also the potential here is amazing, because first of all, you can slice the samples, you can choose the loop mode, forward, reverse, and you can even record your own beats, let's say on this one here. So start the recorder and just use the input of your microphone for your audio interface. If I click this, let's record a snap. Okay, like that. So now you have this. That's my snap, me snapping my fingers. Recording in the sampler directly. I have longed for this day in Logic. And not only that, you can even open up anything like this little sample I recorded, drag that in, like so, into this, replace here, and now I have this. Okay, so I can now go in and edit it, because I didn't get the entire thing, like so. And I mean, you can go in and edit with detail if you want to, but I mean, the potential here are incredible, because you can use the built-in sounds, you can use your samples on your drives, your sample packs, you can record yourself, you can even open up the library and not only change it for the track. So if I open up the library, you can see you have for each individual drum. So if I, let's say, open up the browser or the window again here, and then let's say on this one here, I open up the library, and you can see here, you can go in, let's add a rim shot there instead. Whoops. Like that. So now this is a rim shot. And let's see, if I click, if I click here, you can see the rim shot AIF there. You can even use an audio loop here if you wanted to, like just drag it in. Use original, which means it will use the original tuning, loudness and looping and length, or optimize, and it will search for loop points. Probably, I don't know which sounds best here, but just drag it in and you have this. And of course, you can just use that one. So, and as soon as you change, you see the waveform down here, just open and close with this little arrow. This potential is amazing. And what's more, you can even map it super easily. So the kick is on C1, but let's say you wanted to map it to another key. Just click here, learn note. Let's map it to C0. And now it's on C0, so you can drag around the entire kit like this if you wanted to. It's so amazing. One of my favorite updates in Logic for sure. Drum Synth plugin. Create and generate drum sounds. Alright, so the drum machine designer and the samplers, the multi-sampler and the quick sampler, is of course based on audio samples of some kind. But you can also generate synth sound with a new plugin called Drum Synth. Super clean looking and super simple to use. So the kick here, so this is the kick. You basically have a new track for every sound. So if let's see if I can use this little chain here, so I can open them up like so. So here's the kick drum. You have various kicks here, heavy kick, hard kick. I mean, these are just settings over here, and you can adjust them to your taste. Let's use a heavy kick, pitch it down, or up, tone, saturation, decay, sweep, shape, key tracking on or off. So if I have key tracking, I can choose with the key. And that is for the kicks. And then you can have another track for the snare and claps. And the presets here are super simple. Snappy snare, air snare, electronic snare, clap, human clap. And you can see if I have key tracking on, I can set the tonality of it, basically the center point of the frequencies. And you have it for percussion as well, deep toms, as you can see, tight tom. and what's the final? It's shakers. So again, super simple to use, but you can do so much, adding effects to it if you want to, using key tracking or not, and it is way more controlled than using a sample. Not my favorite thing. I will probably use the sampler and drum machine designer more, but if you wanted to go for that super clean sound, just use the synth generator, the drum synth. RemeFX, performance and live focused effects. Now, if you listen to this piano track first, clean and simple, right? Well, I added this RemeFX, which you find if you go to your Logic folder here in the plugins, and then multi-effects, you can see it here. Fat effects, step effects, and the new one is RemeFX. So let's open it up. It actually doesn't do anything in the default mode. So if you just play it, nothing happens. Because what it's supposed to do is add that live performance effects that are so cool to use with these two pads. And by the way, if you use the Logic Remote app on your iPad, you can do this live instead of using your mouse right here. But if I play something back, you can do stuff like this. And if you click here, you can see that you can apply this pad to filter, repeater, bobble, reverb, orbit, and delay. And you can choose for both of these. So let's say reverb. And as soon as I release my mouse, it ends. Unless you use the lock button, and then when you automate it, it will remain with the effect on. But without it, it's just adding a little glimpse of the effect, so to speak. And then you have these bars here, a gate here, and this little modulation bit crusher type of thing in the middle. And if you click here, you can also change the actual synchronization in time. So 8 node, let's do 16. Let's see. Yeah, and you can even go to fat mode or classic mode for the filter if you want to. Let's go back here. We can add some vinyl effects here. Scratching. Very simple to use, very clean interface, and very much focused on remix kind of effects. I won't probably use it so much because I mainly compose orchestral music, but it's pretty cool for what it does. New sounds, instruments, loops, samples, and presets. So the new instruments are basically the multi-sampler, the quick sampler. I consider the drum machine designer to be pretty much a new instrument because of the updates, and you also have the drum synth. But you also get lots and lots of new loops, Apple loops and samples in here. You get lots of new presets in the library for lots of the instruments, especially, of course, for the new drum machine designer update and the multi-samplers and samplers. So make sure you download all of these new sounds. I'm pretty sure it will prompt you to do so when you upgrade to 10.5, but you really want to make sure that you have everything installed, otherwise you will miss out. So Logic Pro X sound library, download all available sounds so you get access to everything new. So what do you think about this big update, Logic Pro 10.5? Please share your thoughts in a comment below. Now choose which video you are going to watch next, or you can check out the amazing bonuses in the video description.